Spec reworks.
Yes, these again, they haven't really talked too much about like what to expect from Alpha in terms of big spec reworks. They didn't go, we're doing this, this, and this. They're just like, we'll change some shit, whatever. Obviously, they said there's stuff coming, but people did not expect to wake up and find, well, I suppose it isn't the evening rather, but people didn't expect to open their like Wowhead or their game and say Arcane Mage has been turned off in a bunch of ways.
What?
Yeah. I'll actually skip ahead to it.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that first.
It's the one I know.
Okay, so they start by highlighting their design philosophy, which what they want to do is allow you to acquire each spec's core gameplay with less talent point investment.
Yes.
Understandable.
I will get something while you talk. I'll get something that highlights exactly why they feel this needed to be done.
Simplify rotational complexity. Provide new nodes that can help you adapt your damage profile to better match given encounter. And to provide competitive choice nodes that let you opt out of complex gameplay. So with that, we start with Radiant Spark, which, from the Kyrians.
Got yoked into oblivion.
Wow. Arcane Mage long had the reputation of being one of the most complicated and skill-expressive specs in the game, they say. And yes, they go on to talk about that, and Arcane Mage using, essentially, combining their mini burns with Radiant Spark. Radiant Spark isn't that whatever you do hits multiple times.
No,
it's been a while since
Radiant
maged.
Spark is the next 4 spells deal 10, 20, 30, and 40% increased damage, which means you want to actually ramp and time that perfectly, which meant it was basically like it was scripted, which was their problem. Their problem was it was scripted as opposed to being something you kind of optimize a little bit. So I can show you a good example. If I go to the, let me just make sure that is on the...
Oh, is this going to look
like... On the television screen for us,
you know, the FF14 sort of timeline representations of opener? Yep, it does. It's
Let me just bring this up. So, close new tab. And then it doesn't look any different.
Now it's small.
And now it's fine. Now I finally get to manipulate it. Fantastic. So, this is the Arcane Season 4 opener. No other spec has anything even remotely this close.
No.
And it's not super hard, right? It's not incredibly difficult. But, all right. Oh, you just...
Sorry, I just noticed.
Coca-Cola Lemon, yeah.
Coca-Cola Lemon?
Yeah. You can get cans in Poundland or a 2-litre bottle in Tesco.
So they're fighting... they're fighting Pepsi Lime?
Must be. Well, they have Coke Lime as well.
Do they?
It's not even that great. It's all right. It's fine.
Damn.
It's fine. If you're super into lemon, it's great. But anyway.
Back to the Arcane Mage.
Yes, back to the Arcane Mage. So, Arcane Mage has this. And let me just look at chat, see if there are any questions or anything going on. One moment. Yeah, subtlety is a little bit close, right? So, it was kind of strict. Where you've got this pre-pull segment, and you do your setup. You evocate before, which you're like, why would you restore all your mana? Because of Siphon Storm, because it gives you a huge buff. Don't use all your stuff don't use your big damage during your big damage windows because etc. Press 40,000 buttons in and around this. Do your opening burn until halfway through Siphon, then you can Spark. And Spark means you cast Radiant Spark. As soon as it's finished, you do your it's on GCD but it's no cast time Nether Tempest. Then you Surge, your Arcane Surge, Gem, and I can't remember what trinket that is. You Barrage, which empties all your charges. Then you Touch of the Magi, but you Touch of the Magi during Barrage's flight time, so it actually hits it, and that's a very important part of it. Then you Blast, so you get your full charges of Blaster in that window. And then you've also got, you also then have to spend your clear casting, keep your stuff up, and keep going. And then you have to Presence of Mind during the last tick of Touch of the Magi is the only place Presence of Mind is actually helpful because it lets you skip the cast time of this. So your Presence of Mind, the last two.
So I think we can
insane.
I think we can see how perhaps they may want to adjust this.
Yeah.
So they say what they're doing is they're removing Radiant Spark in its current form, but they put in a new talent called Magi Spark.
Magi Spark.
Wow. Yeah, it is Magi Spark.
it's-
It's not Magi Spark.
No, it's Touch of the Magi and then
That's
Magi
why
Spark.
Magni's lost his juice. The mages have taken it.
Yeah.
So, let's see. They say it accomplishes a similar goal to Radiant Spark by making Touch of the Magi more of an exciting moment, but now rewards you for utilizing each of your core rotational arcane spells.
So the way that works is you've got two choices there. You've got Improved Touch of the Magi, which ups its damage from 20% of everything to 25%. Or you can take Magi Spark, which is you hit them with it's a barrage, a blast, and a missiles. And if you hit with all three during the Magi window, it explodes for extra damage. So that means you'll want to put one of your missiles in there, especially now because one of the things is actually using your clear casting is weird. Actually using missiles is weird because as soon as arcane missiles was too strong, people just pressed arcane missiles all day because they could gem and evocate and do crazy shit with mana that they didn't need to worry about it too much.
Right.
Instead of like blast. So they had to figure out a way to do that, which for arcane missiles they just went, and we will you can't press arcane missiles until you get clear casting, fuck you. And you're like, that works. You can make it strong without making half the rotation be, what if I just press arcane missiles all day, go to sleep, which is one of the problems. They've also kind of they've given more clear castings that are more like kind of there to the point you get them quite a lot in whatever little I was playing on a target dummy last night. One of the things they talk about is opt-in complexity, and there's a little bit of that's kind of missing. Where
The opt-in is missing or the complexity is missing?
I think some of the opt-in's missing a little bit.
Okay, right.
I think where before you basically had to play this to get competitive damage because you know how balance works, right? Where you have a high skill ceiling, but we can't give you more damage or else everyone plays you.
Yeah.
We have to make you do roughly the same damage. We can't reward you for being better too much, at least not on theoretical damage.
Oh, MMO development's hell.
Yeah, so exactly. So there's some of that is there, and it works okay. Like maybe letting you remove a button or two off your action bars along the way. This spec, they removed Nether Tempest and Radiant Spark. That's 2 buttons gone. I have because I made the keybind planner in Shadowlands and Dragonflight, and I'm in the midst of making the
glorious document.
I'm in the midst of making the game for hero talents. Sorry, I never updated it for Ogvoker. Whoops. Or for all of the talent changes that they added new stuff in all the time because it changed every 6 weeks.
That would be infinite work. So,
yeah, it sure would.
Makes
so
sense.
I'm updating that for currently because I'm already testing all the specs and stuff, so I might as well. And I swear to God, Arcane Mage went from the how the fuck do I do this to the half my action bars are empty now. Which is like a small thing because 1 or 2 extra buttons throws off your whole vibe. So removing Spark and removing Nether Tempest, it makes it so much more chill if you're just like, I've just got a handful of buttons. I can just press, have a good day. It's completely fine.
So they say, well, they're changing here. Yeah, so arcane missiles damage and excitement was difficult.
Yeah.
Your excitement is unbalanced. But I do understand, if arcane missiles is just... I get how it should feel special.
Yeah,
so
the only reason you used arcane missiles, as far as I'm aware, is because of interactions with using your clear casting procs to get Nether Precision, which is a buffed arcane blast. So it was like the spell wasn't exciting. I'm not even sure if people, because I literally don't know, but I have a funny feeling people probably clip the shit out of missiles just to get the clear casting spec or clear casting thing used to get precisions out. I think so anyway. So Sunfear and Spellslinger both grant increased access to clear casting, which felt pretty decent to me. It was still RNG as hell. You know the way Frostmage had real problems with Brain Freeze and Flurry?
Yep.
And then they changed that by giving Flurry charges, so it was you could always do it, even if you charge this bank.
Was it mid-Legion where people were able to do goofy things?
Oh, it was BFA because of Azerite traits. There was the no Ice Lance build.
I remember there being something with Ice Lance in Legion.
There might have been. I don't remember though.
Okay.
Might have been like an Ice Lance only or something, and then a no Ice Lance as well. Yeah.
Okay, right. Interesting. That's a decent few changes.
Yeah, it's
it's
hard to recognize.
Adding hero talents on top of that.
Yeah.
How does that fare?
So the hero talents mostly add little layers of small complexity in the box, as opposed to wider complexity or more buttons a lot of the time. They don't really fundamentally change anything. They're a little thing on top that sometimes weaves its way through. And for Spellslinger, There's like a proc that happens now. You kind of go, sure, I need to fiddle that. I can't remember what it is for Arcane because I didn't play it too much, but I did play with Arcane and Sun Fury a little bit, and it's mostly just Sun Fury. It feels slightly less impactful, but at the same time, you hit you do all your normal stuff as normal. The only thing that's different is your Arcane Orb sometimes gets a proc that throws down a load of meteors, which is quite nice and gives extra Arcane charges, which that's mostly be a kind of bonus for AoE, I think, because I think you Arcane Orb in single target a lot of time anyway, because it's a spell, it does damage and gets charges. You can fire it off and get a couple charges instead of having to cast a blast whenever you run out of things, so you can barrage into Orb to get charges back. But the fun part of Sun Fury and how it works is whenever the Phoenix goes away at the end of your window, you get, for fire, you get hyperthermia, which is 3 seconds of free instant crit pyroblasts or flame strikes, which is just, you're having fun alternating, and then you see because it's like the same as a hot streak indicator on your screen, but bigger on the outside and like Phoenix filigree, and you just whatever your pyroblast button is, you just go, yeah, let's go. Same with barrage. The proc's called Arcane Soul, and it gives for 3 seconds or so, your barrage is instant. Well, it's free, sorry. And it generates 4 charges as soon as it spends them. So you just go barrage.
Okay, that'll feel pretty crazy.
with a new talent, which is there's a damage window after your touch of the Magi goes away. There's an additional damage window. So you kind of get and if you time it right, you'll have your smashing your barrage into that increased damage window, which does feel overall quite nice. Like, I'm sure I haven't really seen too much outside of... Oh yeah, Mana Gem was removed. That was another one. I forgot about Mana Gem being removed because I didn't think about it very often. Cool flavor, but no one likes using it. Yeah. No one likes using it. Because they give you 2 buttons. You had to conjure it, then use it. And then sometimes if the fight was long enough, you might have to conjure it again.
Well, that's your problem.
It's also just...
Was it on the global cooldown?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I also just kind of sucked the people. Whatever. So I was pressing the button to get a little bit of a tiny buff for some reason.
The other change then is to Demonology. There's a little bit for Rhett later, but let's see. So they, they say, and they have a refresher kind of on their intent for Demonology. Yeah. They want to reduce the amount of resources it generates, to redesign Doom to be attractive, and to reduce the amount of major cooldowns it has access to.
Yeah, people are not the best happy about this.
Yeah, because I do look at what they say there and think,
Yeah, what if your life was shit and also your life was shit?
In my head, like, the coolest part of the player fantasy of playing Demonology is in like a high haste scenario where you have a lot of resources and you're generating a stupid number of imps.
Yeah, you've got a million
and
boys.
Demons and stuff. Well, okay, so let's see what they say then. With that, we'll start with Demonic Course. Over the course of Dragonflight, we've wanted to and try to reduce the number of demonic cores available to Demonology Warlocks to rein in their mobility, resource generation, and reduce the amount of rotational time spent going back and forth between Hand of Gul'dan and Demon Bolt only, and they want Demon Bolt to return to being a moment rather than your primary rotational button, so they're removing demonic knowledge to reduce the frequency of demonic cores.
Fun place.
Demonic core isn't...
You
generate that whenever...
You get a chance whenever your demons die. Whenever your imps
and then it's
die.
an instant cast.
It's an instant demon bolt, yeah.
Right, so people were just generating so many demonic cores that they were...
having fun.
Just spamming that shit out way too quick.
Yeah.
In Blizzard's opinion. Even though for those players, they're probably thinking, look at this, I'm doing damage, and I'm moving!
Yeah.
Wow!
I don't have to press Shadow Bolt!
I'm fun!
And that's most of it. It is mostly like, I don't have to press Shadow Bolt. Oh my god, this is wonderful. Because Shadow Bolt, especially, like...
Yeah.
Shadow Bolt on Affliction, take Drain Soul. It feels less dog. Incinerate on, like, Destro feels okay. Especially because you don't do it that often. Compared to Conflag and your Cataclysm and your Chaos Bolt and stuff like that. So they just kind of decided, well, you're supposed to be more of a turret. So fuck you, be more of a turret. Which is literally just, we would like you to feel good. So we're going to have to nerf your baseline. Which is always going to be a painful thing. And I understand it.
Yes.
But this is definitely going to be taken as like a, why are you removing our fun? Could you not just balance us down? Or something? Because, like, it's even like the removal of Nether Portal. It's like, we love the Nether Portal is great and you love it. we couldn't be bothered with it. Goodbye. Which is true because they had this case where like they were just sitting, right, we're going to smash a billion cooldowns to do all the damage universe. Because that's the problem with cooldowns. You'll see, like, that's why they did with Ret. That's why Avenging Wrath went down to 1 minute for Ret.
No, I'm just double checking.
Nether Portal's a 3 minute.
Whenever you spend demons
everywhere.
Right. In my head, that seems like the natural high point of I am casting lots, or I am a master of summoning demons. That seems like the high point.
Yeah. So they removed
Keep the high point.
They removed it because it was hard to balance. Because they also have Tyrant and stuff like that. They already had you've got your big demon that comes out and gets power from all your other demons.
What if, well, I guess this is where it's a balance problem. Yeah. In my head, like, there's a fantasy of, this is my big Chad, and then a fantasy of, here's my army of little dick boys. So, I don't know why. So, like, that seems like a choice node to me of, like, fantasy.
To a degree, I guess, yeah.
Okay. But again, I've not played Demonology really outside of alphas and betas, like as a main thing. So like, Well, wait. No, it's not just gone. They do say we'd like to spend some time workshopping a new design for Nether Portal and having it return as a healthier addition in the future. Now, do they mean in the future testing of the War Within, or do they mean a patch?
Hard to know.
We do not know.
Probably a patch at this point, to be honest. Because I will say the good thing is I think their new Doom is cool. Because Doom was no one took Doom ever at any time. So they decided, okay, well here you go. You can press Doom, and what happens is, where's it at? We have the full notes. Let's explain Doom. Because there's a lot of like other stuff been moved around and just like talent things. Oh come on, sure it is here somewhere. Oh yes, here it is. Doom has been redesigned. Inflicts impending doom upon the target, dealing shadow damage and an additional shadow damage to enemies within 10 yards after 20 seconds. Consuming a demonic core, reduce the duration by 3 seconds. So you're going to die in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you take numbers off that by launching out your like demon bolts, which I think is actually cool to sell. It's the same way, and this must be like, I think it might be something like literally new spell tech they have, because they do it for Diabolist as well. Diabolist's whole thing is you have this buff rolling that's called Demonic Ritual or something like that. And it used to be 20 seconds, 60 seconds now. And every soul shard you spend reduces the duration of it. And when it's over, that's when a demon's summoned. Mm. So you like get your stack of like Chaos Bolts when thrown out if you're Destro. And you know with every Chaos Bolt, the Pit Lord or Mother of Chaos, or whatever the other one's called, is like closer to coming out, which also means the faster you go with your soul shard spending, especially when your Infernal's down, then you're going to get more and more demons out the faster you go, which is, it's a shame that they nerfed the shit out of that compared to where I had the most fun when it was every 20 seconds reduced by soul shards. It's 60 seconds now, so you don't get them every other thing, which I suppose makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it. Where I don't know, I haven't looked at the tree, so I don't know what shifting everything about does. But we are at a point where there's a lot of stuff where, like, here's some extra damage, here's some extra attack speed and crit damage, here's some extra... reduce the cast time of Shadow Bolt 25%. That's pretty nice. That's quite decent. And the damage buff. That's probably a decent way of them going, sorry, Shadow Bolt sucks less. Sorry about that. But even, like, just increase attack speed or permanently by 25%. I don't know if that's cool, to be honest. I don't know. But,
right.
But they'd move some stuff. Move things around. So
interesting. The next one to look at is Retribution Paladin.
You mean Casino Paladin?
An extremely popular spec.
You mean
it was funny. I mean, obviously, it would go like this, but it was funny doing LFR Farak, and you just look at details.
Oh yeah,
everything's pink. Because I mean, it's all just people wanting Fairlat. So what they're doing, there are development notes, but then they've made a post about their design philosophy. So let's do that. They say that this week is about quality of life. Right, Wake of Ashes. Retribution relies on Wake of Ashes for both of their hero talent trees, and it's core to the rotation, so they've moved it before the second gate.
Which makes sense, considering it's at the fucking bottom of the minute.
Additionally, they've noticed that aiming it causes frustrations when strafing.
That's cool. I really like that they actually bother to go, how does this ability feel to use, considering it's something that does a cone in front of me? We'll fix that up.
So if I am strafing this way, I've never noticed that, but I imagine that this is one of those things. If I just sat down and played, it would feel way better.
Yeah,
So if you're strafing to the right,
I imagine it's based on like the timing of pressing the button. Where if you were, the cone probably extends a bit if you're strafing.
I'm just gonna log into World of Warcraft and hit the button.
Yeah. I'm assuming it is based on instead of snapshotting your location and there being potentially slight latency delays or something, or when you press the button versus when it went out. I imagine there's a case of that where they just go, if you're strafing literally sideways, we'll just make it bigger to make sure it hits stuff.
Fair.
That's what I'm assuming anyway. I don't know for sure.
I mean, as I would put it, that is...
Nice
okay, so I just strafed.
Yeah.
So whenever I strafed, which means my character is technically facing in the direction I'm strafing.
Yeah.
It goes in the direction I'm strafing, not in front of me. So it follows my character's... Right. It's following my character's direction of travel rather than where, like, my camera is. So if my camera, like, if I'm facing towards, but then strafing to the left, in the old version, it attacks to the left. Yeah. Instead of attacking, I suppose, maybe in front, which is what they've changed here, which would make a lot of sense if you're like circle strafing a target and want to use Wake of Ashes.
Yeah. Crowfart says the cone was placing in front of the character, now in front of the camera, which is, that's where you want it to be because that's where the player's looking, not where the character's looking. Fantastic.
So next we have expurgation. Expurgation.
It's the dot from Blade of Justice, and now what happened was the dot was overriding.
Yeah.
But now it's stacking on. Same with the one from Templar Slash.
All right.
Because they're doing
Makes
that.
Sense.
That works because you were pressing it too often overriding. Whenever you've got dot-based builds now, because of the rework.
So that's essentially, that's that for the class changes.
That's not it for Paladins. That's it for the design philosophy.
Oh, sorry. There's
silly. Other stuff in the dev notes.
Other changes?
Yeah, so...
Sorry. Other ways that they have ruined the game.
No, they fixed it.
What?
Glory replaces Avenging Wrath. You're getting rid of Avenging Wrath. It's gone forever. No, it's not. Wake of Ashes grants you wings for 12 seconds of 12 of its crusade. So 10 seconds of wings every time you press Wake of Ashes, and your other abilities give you a chance to get it for 5. So if you just didn't like pressing Avenging Wrath and instead would rather just have shit happen,
horrible button, makes me feel bad.
Go for it. Just get it every time you wings, or you wake, which is cool. I think it's risky, but I love casino stuff in the game sometimes. I remember seeing an Elisham on Mythic Varamathras, and I swear to God, that guy god rolled so hard every single time he threw out an elemental overload, and this was in the complete insane, in the insane days of Giga Mastery elemental shamans, and just as soon as he decided to go, just gas played, and the damage meter blew just, and it was literally just pure luck. It was just every single button was a bunch of overloads and refunds, and he was just pressing Earth Shock forever. So it's like that's a choice talent if you want that. It'll work with Herald of the Sun hero talent stuff, which is about wings connecting you.
For a lot of people, I think that's actually a good talent.
Yeah, and also
fair. Yeah.
The other thing is I thought about this for a little bit is this will line up better with Templar, because you'll have wings for every single Hammer of Light and Shake the Heavens window.
So you will.
Which is probably the idea, versus having more control over your wings being like whatever longer. And also having more control over your cooldown window and its effectiveness is very, very, very strong in the minute. Because sometimes you're playing a fortified key and had to every 2 minutes cooldown. I know it's 1 minute for wings, but having longer cooldowns on like fortified week can suck. Because you're like, well, I've got a 2 minute cooldown, but there's 90 seconds until the next big pull. What do? I hold it for 90 seconds. Well, that's shit. But then if you're like, the thing about playing Ret is because I haven't played Ret properly since it changed to 1 minute until I was doing M+ the other day, because Matt was tanking instead of me, and I was just like, oh my, having wings every minute is fucking amazing. It's so good.
It's pretty nice.
It's so cool. It's excellent. Like every other pull, basically. Just go for it.
There's an interesting thing to be said for that. That somewhat reminds me of one of the problems they had in the design of Demon Hunters, where
meta was on 200 minute cooldown, lasted for a year.
Yeah, so it's hard.
No, it's down to 2 minutes.
Is it super special and rare, or just you have it all the time? I think ultimately, the more time that you have it, So like with the new Avenging Wrath, because you get more shots, it pretty much means you'll be closer to like your average performance.
Yeah,
Instead of if it is one CD but rare, and so it smooths it out.
It's smoothed out and gives you a casino segment to unsmooth out. What if you just want more damage for the crack? So I haven't seen what like a lot of the movement looks like, but I very much like the increase on the cooldown for Templar Strikes, because it's a pretty overloaded spec for button pressing when you bring everything. And also, we were talking last week. No, it wasn't. It was Tuesday. We're talking Tuesday about defensives in the game and the struggle they have to balance them out. They've clearly made their decision, because instead of having Divine Protection and Shield of Vengeance, now you only pick one, but Divine Protection gets buffed by 20% with Aegis of Protection. 40% DR? 40% DR feels pretty strong.
Less but better.
Yeah. And also, I like that specifically because I love Shield of Vengeance, but Shield of Vengeance is a wee bit degen for, press it for damage. But also,
I like that.
I like it.
I like that.
But I like having the option to take Divine Protection.
Yes.
Especially because Divine Protection is off the GCD and Shield of Vengeance is not. You would not believe the amount of times I've like completely scuppered because I've forgotten Shield of Vengeance is on the GCD, and just like no other class I play has defensive on GCD, so I hit my defensive button after I hit a button and it doesn't go, and I go, oh shit, that's right, fuck.
Man, BFA blew, didn't it?
BFA sucked.
I know everyone.
So bad.
I know, like, the thing to do now, after Warlords of Draenor has been praised to now be great. That's totally. I don't mean that. I'm being disingenuous.
Time heals all wounds.
Yeah, that's happening for BFA, and in my head, I'm just thinking GCD. It felt off. It felt awful.
See, it's funny. That's definitely true. But the part of BFA, when I think about it, I never think about it in the sense of anything but how Preacher's video, basically the
dice.
The dice. The entire game felt so bad.
Yeah.
I played it way more than I ought to have, but every time I was mad. I was just slightly upset.
The Nagitar didn't work.
Yeah, it wasn't even Nagitar. It was 8.1 and after, I think. I was just in the world doing a world quest. I'm like, why am I fucking lagging? Why are my buttons not being responsive?
That was a real crazy situation. Like
the thing I like most about playing World of Warcraft, and like before maybe recently, where the past couple of years where it's had like a different vibe for me. One of the reasons I kept coming back to World of Warcraft, and I remember this is specifically why I started playing in Warlords again, was because I in my head remembered pressing buttons in Mists, and I was like,
that was good.
I was like, oh, it's nothing else is like it. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And then
it's funny, even like playing Diablo 4, you have to get used to the lack of responsiveness compared to Diablo 3. Playing No Rest for the Wicked, it was, I mean, even playing Final Fantasy 14, my World of Warcraft brain struggled just because it doesn't feel as snappy.
Yeah. It's the same thing that like Overwatch had for it and always has going for it. You're like, Blizzard's own in-house engine dev, there's very, very few things feel as good.
Yeah.
Like whatever magic they work, whatever institutional knowledge they have or had maybe was exceptional. So that's it for the class change and reworks. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a people are not exactly very happy about the demonology stuff.
Well, that does seem very understandable to
That's
me.
completely fair. People are happy about Arcane Mage stuff, which is great. I was expecting more backlash. Now, I haven't trawled the forums and seen everyone's opinion, but I was expecting a little bit more. Just fuck this, because I was thinking people went, but this is the only class I have high skill expression on. This is the only class I do get to go, what's my fucking launch sequence here? Because I have dabbled with it, because like never really in real content, but literally just like on a PTR and alpha or just for the crack, I'll log into Arcane Mage, go to dummy and see, can I do this? Can I do this effectively? Can I remember it? And it's fun to do, but it just isn't a fit for the game.
Yeah.
Good that they're fixing that.